Patreon pick this week, which was in fact the 2017 film The Ritual, as requested by Grapeseed Oil, aka Kyler. Thank you.
Holy shit. Yeah, so The Ritual is about a man who ends up unfortunately witnessing one of his pals get murdered right in front of him, and he could have done something to stop it, but he didn't. And now because he has a lot of grief, and so him and the boys go on a nice little camping trip to remember their dear old friend who died. But as they're walking through the woods, bad things start to happen. They start seeing these weird visions and shit like that, and our guy starts to get a little creeped out that maybe there's something in these woods following him. And as it turns out, there's a big deer demon, and it's gonna fucking kill him. And it does. It kills each and every one of them except for our main boy, who ends up getting out of the forest and surviving.
I guess we'll get Tanner's haiku when he comes back.
Dylan, come up with a haiku off the top of your head right now.
4 men in the woods, suffering from a suffering from psychosis. One lives to tell again.
Sounds good enough to me.
There we
There's
go.
There's also, of course, the whole thing about, like, the deer god is being worshipped by a bunch of people in the woods, but who cares about those fuckers?
Unimportant.
Forced worship, it's unimportant. I will say, when movie has... Oh, Tanner's back. Alright, Tanner, what's one up my haiku, let's hear it.
Here's my haiku as inspired by The Ritual. Shopping trip gone wrong leads to hiking trip gone wrong. I'll just hang out here.
Which haiku did you guys like better, mine or Tanner's?
I like the prepared one.
Oh, okay. Nico, please boost my self-confidence. I need to hear
I like Dylan more. It's more spontaneous.
Anyway, what was your question? What were you asking me? Or never mind, you asked me to do a haiku. Yeah, I like this movie more on the fact of it had what I would call like a forced psychosis, where in the usual circumstances of these movies, the main character has some sort of underlying mental illness or emotional, well, I guess he's emotionally distraught, but that doesn't necessarily lead to maybe being anxious or anything, but the movie ends up playing off of that with, I guess what they determined is him being in pain. But it just adds an extra layer of like mystery and, what's going on to the movie, because obviously this thing that they're experiencing isn't happening of their own volition. There's like some presence there to, enact upon it. But this was also one of those movies where the atmosphere set me up way more than the actual monster itself did. Which I feel like is a better way of pulling off horror, where you can scare the audience before anything actually happens. I recall at one point when they're all like camping out in the tents for like the second night, and he hears the creature wandering around. For some reason, him reaching and unzipping the tent scared me because I was expecting something drastic to happen. But yeah, I'd say that this movie set the environment very well. I don't think it did anything super poorly. I think there may have been a couple of instances where that didn't need to happen, but it did because movie. But we all have to fulfill those tropes so we actually get said movie. So,
anyways, on to the criticisms. Everyone in this movie is a complete fucking retard, and I think that's the biggest thing that detracts from it, is everyone just makes incredibly illogical and stupid choices all the time, and that's the only way the movie would have progressed otherwise. Like, they don't talk to each other at all, there's very little communication, they just make dumb decisions, like they're literally following the fucking crippled guy that's freaking the fuck out into the middle of the woods along. Like, it's dumb as shit. They're all just really fucking stupid. I do like this, like, the kind of setup where it's like a trauma kind of thing. I wish they did more with, like, the psychological stuff going on. But it kind of is just a run-of-the-mill horror movie at the end of the day. There's some things to infer, like maybe like you can wonder why the guy was picked over other people, and maybe he's got, or I think there's like some trauma or something. He's got more pain. Maybe he's more susceptible to worshiping and like joining the fucking cult or something. I don't know. There's definitely like stuff to dig into with this movie, but I think it's just kind of outweighed by the fact that everyone's retarded, and that drags it down a good amount for me.
My question to you guys though, if you were in his position, you're in the fucking convenience store, you see one of your friends in a very precarious situation there. What are you gonna do, boys? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna try and save him? Are you gonna hide out there and hope that you can make it out alive? What are you doing?
I don't think I'd expect the people to fucking kill the dude. I don't think most robbers would just randomly kill a civilian. That's not their place. That's just not something that commonly happens. It's hard to say. If I thought my life was in danger and I had a good chance, maybe I'd try, but realistically I probably would not, because I wouldn't imagine we were in any like actual mortal danger, personally.
Am I like my current American self over there?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'd step it. I have no fear for the British, so...
Okay.
yeah,
but he has
I'd
a fucking
intervene.
machete.
I don't care, he's still British.
He's gonna fucking chop your arm off.
Not even. I'd win.
I mean, yeah, even in the convenience store scene, they were like, he like slashed him with the machine. He's like, oh, what are you doing? We weren't supposed to do that, and all that kind of stuff. But,
yeah, that was just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie a lot more than I thought it was. It is the most generic horror movie setup imaginable, where it's a bunch of dudes in the woods.
True.
But the really unique monster design helps carry this movie quite a ways for me. And the second monster attack, where it ends up taking the one dude, when they're camping and he hears it outside, that actually got me a bit scared. I was like, oh my gosh, this is freaky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think another thing that the unique monster design does for me is that, like, normally you don't want them to show the creature very much, but since they do go, half the movie without showing it, and it isn't until, like, most of them are killed, and they've entered this sort of second phase of the movie where it's these like cult members that he's facing off against. I thought it was kind of earned that we got to see that thing, and I'm kind of glad we got to see the thing because I thought it was very cool looking and unique and interesting. I like his kind of turn, because I do think they did a decent character arc where, he was guilty, he felt guilty over not intervening, and then at the end of the movie we get to see him actually say, you know what, fuck it, I am gonna try and intervene, and he shoots the one cult member, he punches the one girl in the face, he's like actually trying to take some agency in this situation.
Yeah, he just very nonchalantly lights a bunch of people on fire.
Yeah, that was very funny and sweet. It felt kind of earned to me, honestly. And then I forget which of you guys brought this up. I think it might have been Jackson, where you were talking about, you can kind of speculate on why he was chosen. I kind of saw it as sort of a parallel thing, because, like, one of the aspects of his trauma was, like, survivor's guilt. And so in kind of the same way, he's having to deal with that exact same thing, where his friends are now being killed by this monster, but it won't kill him. And yeah, I thought the way the monster behaves was cool, where, like, it very clearly was not trying to kill him. It, like, wanted him to worship it. And so as long as he resisted doing that, it wasn't, like, its goals were beyond, like, just mindless killing and terrorizing stuff. It very much, in that aspect to me, felt like, an old god, like they called it, like this weird kind of unknowable creature.
Yeah, Jotun is what they refer to it as there.
Yeah, They were super interested in him, and I questioned why the god was willing to basically sacrifice all of the other people for him. Because even at the end of the movie, or maybe you could look at it in the sense of the god was just like, okay, fuck, he's killed everyone else. I'm fucked. Let me just get this guy as, like, the start the cold over again. But, like, the fucking god went and killed his own followers for very little reason, like, outside of the ones that the guy killed himself. So, like, why did it do that? Why was it so hard-pressed on him specifically? I don't know, to the point where it'd forsake the rest of the cult just to get him. I don't understand why.
I think that it's just, like, it's really into fucking tradition, and they fucked up, so it was gonna make sure that they understood that.
Like, the one woman it picks up and starts killing, it did that because, like, she went from a bow till she kind of fell over on her side, so she was no longer in, like, a bowing position. I think that's why it decided to kill her.
I don't know, I kind of got a essence of mourning from the old god, because if you remember when he was running away with the gun from the flaming cabin, you see it pick up the same lady and, like, carry her, but it's not, like, trying to crush her or do anything specific. It's like, be like, why did you have to do this? Like, I didn't want to have to do this, but you guys made me do this kind of thing. But in regards to why it chose him, I think I very explicitly remember them stating that he was chosen because he had the most pain out of the entire group, and that was reflected on by him feeling guilty for not saving his friend. But Yeah, I think it's definitely like an old trauma, new trauma kind of thing, where I think the reason it wanted him is maybe like their traumas were nothing in comparison to the trauma he has, and newer, shinier is better or something like that. But that's neither here nor so.
Yeah, it wanted something a little fresh.
I would have walked out of the forest as soon as I saw a deer strung up in the trees with its entrails hanging out. Like, that's not normal. Don't try
and
to
at the
justify
very
that by
least, if
hunters.
everyone woke up in such horrifying positions, like one of them being butt-ass naked, worshiping something upstairs, freaking the fuck out, I think most intelligent people would have backed out of the situation at that point. But yeah, I do think the movie's really fucking stupid. I will still give it a lot of credit. I think the fact that we can have a discussion about all of like the inner workings of maybe what's going on is cool, and I think that it definitely speaks volumes for what this movie could have been if better written. I guess I'll kick us off here with a killer B-.
Whoa!
Oh.
That's actually a pretty solid ranking. Tanner's looking bewildered, but I'm gonna follow up with another B-.
Oh.
I'm looking bewildered because I talked this one up so much more, and I still only have it at a C.
Holy shit.
That's pretty fun.
That's fucking hilarious, to be honest. I love that.
I don't know. I thought this movie was pretty good. I guess I didn't really factor in the fact that everybody in this movie was being dumbasses, and I do acknowledge now that they were making dumbass excuses like, yeah, the guy woke up naked upstairs, and the other guy woke up and pissed himself. The other guy had a fucking stab wound around his heart.
But that's just a normal night with the boys.
Yeah. For me, it's like, I agree, it's fun to point that shit out and laugh at the movie for that, but I do, part of my suspension of disbelief allows me to go, yeah, people are gonna act dumb in horror movies. I just kind of accept that as part of the deal.
And that's why I can never go past A.
I was about to say, I think it's such a run-of-the-mill thing. I think I just actively ignore it. I don't know. I gave The Ritual an A, personally.
Okay.
Hot damn. And with all these rankings combined, Jackson, give us that wacky Guapish rating.
B.
Okay.
Whoa.
Holy shit.
Crazy.
No re-ranking, guys. You guys can't change this one. It's stuck in the books
Actually,
forever.
can I change it to a B-?
No. Actually, I'm sorry.
I like Tanner's
is-
C a lot. I want to change it to a C.
Yeah, that's fucking baffling that I was lower on it.
I think
Yeah.
that this movie does a lot well, but also I just think the writing was really fucking shoddy in the early parts of it. Because honestly, I think the latter half of the movie is relatively well done for the most part. It's mostly just the first half setup of them getting into the fucking weeds of it all. Really just tears it down a lot for me.
Mm-hmm.